A lot of people tell our kids how to eat, but no one ever shows them how to cook. Part of that process is reconnecting our youth to the land and reintroducing them to our traditional foods.
I'm so happy to welcome you here to Stolo territory. It's good to see you again.
Yes.
And glad that you're willing to share some of your cooking skills and talent with us. It's always a pleasure.
So these two ladies are going to make some bannock. This young guy is going to help me with the salmon, and we're going to pan fry it, and we're going to make some salmon burgers. So what we have here is the recipe that we created at Expo 86. And basically what this is, we start with 6 cups of flour. There's 2 heaping tablespoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar. Do you feel that? So again, when teaching the students, when you're doing baking powder bannock, lukewarm water, it activates the baking powder right away. If you don't use it, use cold water, it takes a while for the baking powder to activate. Remember how to mix it? Yep. Go ahead, fly at it. What we're going to do here, fantastic job, if you can see that. This bannock dough, created at Expo 86, is not quite a dough. It's in between a batter and a dough. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay this out on the counter. This is the fun of cooking. You make a mess, eh? You guys cook at home?
Occasionally.
Okay. Do you clean at home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just thought I'd ask. Okay, so now you can see this dough is nice and really nice and light. Just like I was telling the girls earlier on, the less you handle it, the lighter the product is. If you overhandle the dough itself, this is where it turns into hockey pucks. Might as well sell them to the Vancouver Canucks because they're not doing very well right now. I was telling this young lady that Chilliwack Chiefs can beat our Canucks right now. So if you can roll that, I showed you how to roll that. So she's an expert bannock maker now. So she rolls it in twice, 3 times. Perfect. And actually, when we were creating this recipe at Expo 86, when we first started, we had cast iron pans everywhere. It was like, we can't do this. There's too many cast irons. So that's how we developed a deep fried recipe, because that's the only way we could mass produce this. So we got rid of the cast irons, because that was a lot of work. So usually, we'll keep going. So you can see that, it's a really nice light dough, quite light.
And you could bake it too if you wanted.
Yeah, we can bake these. We can bake it, brush it with a little bit of butter we'll put it in the oven for about 20 minutes, pull it out, and then you brush some more butter in and back in for 20 minutes. So it takes about 40 minutes to bake. Right now I have the deep fry at about 350. And while we're doing that, we're going to bring this young man over. He's going to do some salmon. What was your name again? Justice. Don't do your name any justice every time I ask that. Okay, we're going to turn on this fryer. So what you're going to do is you're going to add salt and pepper onto that salmon, pinch on each. We'll have some samples for you later. We got a lot of salmon and bannock made for you. I've also created some gluten-free bannock now. So we're trying different kinds of bannock. We actually made some with flax. That turned out very well. So we're trying different varieties, trying to get away from the deep fried, try to go into some baking and that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make a lot of different ones. Some salt on there, a little bit of oil. He's deep frying it in the plate, which is good, okay? So now we're gonna let this heat up. So what you're gonna do is, what we do is you heat it to the smoking point, okay? So it doesn't stick to the pan, or it doesn't get soggy either, okay? So what you're gonna do, all we did is we took out all the bones, so these are all totally boneless. Okay, while we're doing that, if you take down here, we got a bowl of mayonnaise. So what we have here is about 2 cups of mayonnaise. You set it on this cloth here. To that, you're going to add about a teaspoon of dill. And to that, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Perfect. A little bit of lemon juice. Perfect. And some salt and pepper. Just use your finger, pinch. A little bit of white pepper, and then you can mix it. In a culinary class, if it was a professional cook program, I'd actually get them to make this from scratch. We'll make our own mayonnaise. We'll get a little bit of roasted garlic, make what's called an aioli, and we use fresh dill. So the students actually get to make mayonnaise from scratch. And how do you think that looks? So we're going to do some quality control here. Test it.
Yes.
You got to give it a try. This is called quality control. This is the fun of cooking.
You know his grandma makes the best dill sauce, right? So you're
Yeah.
under, this is
I'm
going to
under
be very,
pressure.
very, yeah.
I was already nervous.
We'll see. Oh. Yep. Yep.
I can survive in the Stolo territory now. Great job. That's very good. See that? If you mix that properly, it'll flip on its own. Good job. So this young man's now going to make a basic vinaigrette. So he's going to add about 2 tablespoons of shallots.
Shallot.
Shallots.
Shallot. Type of onion.
A teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Okay, so now you whisk. And to that, we're going to add a little bit of red wine vinegar. Remember how I showed you? Where's your tongue got to be? There we go. So you stick your tongue out on the side. Makes it easier. Makes the kids concentrate a little more. So we're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. And normally what we do with this in our culture is we'll add berries to this. And during the World Culinary Olympics in 1990 in Toronto, we were practicing our menu at the Sutton Place Hotel. And we came up with a strawberry vinaigrette. First time we've ever done it. And the thing turned out bright pink. The chef got really mad at us. Who the heck's going to eat that stuff? He said it looked like Pepto-Bismol. And I said, well, we changed it a bit, but now you can see these berry vinaigrettes in all the stores. But it actually came from the 1992 World Culinary Olympics. We developed that recipe in Toronto. And the very first one was a strawberry vinaigrette. So now you're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to that. Okay, I'm going to fry these and cut them open. Okay. And now we're going to bring the chefs back in, and you're going to feed the chefs and Bob. You're going to retest this Bannock, okay? So we're going to try this again. So again, quality control. Winona. Perfect. Girls did a perfect job on this Bannock. Okay, so now we're going to grab a couple of these. We're going to add some dill sauce on it. So you put dill sauce on both sides, lettuce and tomato.
So do you adjust your recipes, Andy, for when you're teaching youth compared to adults, or do you just use the same?
No, it's actually the same recipe that we developed at Expo 86. It hasn't changed much.
Nice.
So I tried to maintain that recipe. I did alter it a bit. I took the lard out, because at Expo we put lard in there, made it a little lighter, but I actually took the lard out and transferred the recipe a bit. So, okay, you're going to put the salad on and then the dressing, okay? So here's your garnish. So what we're going to do is you're going to add your salmon on here. As you can see, it's cooked perfectly. Should only take about 8 minutes. This recipe actually, when Winona talked about this, we actually went to Molson Indy, did this quite a bit. It was very popular. And then I actually had a food booth at the Pacific National Exhibition also for 5 years. And this was produced at the P&E. And much like Expo, we had lineups.
For your cooking show episodes, what kinds of ideas do you have in terms of different types of episodes? Like, will you always be in this kind of setup? Or?
No, I think overall we're going to try to reach back and go back into tradition. I think it's quite critical that we bring the kids back into a traditional camp. We sit out by the river, talk to the elders, talk about how we traditionally harvested it, how we traditionally preserved it, how the actually salmon was hung on the canyon walls, why it was done that way, and then bring it into a setting like this and do some modern plates. Another episode I'd like to do is go back to my territory where we actually gaff the salmon right out of the canyon, where we have these 16-foot poles. We gaff right into the canyon. We pull out these 60-pound salmon. A little different. We smoke ours in a smokehouse, which is this. So that's hanging in the rafters in the smokehouse. So I'd like to show the kids how to do that. There's no better product than this. This is natural. It's dried naturally, just a little bit of salt and pepper on it. And then having a look at this, another version of smoked salmon, which is our hot smoked salmon. This is Wet'suwet'en and hot smoked sockeye salmon. And then this one here, we have Stolo, Indian candy. So again, taking these products, teaching the kids how to make it from scratch, and taking that, and I think overall when the kids learn that they'll have a much more respect for food. So our salmon is almost done. I'd like to call up Bob Hall, Chef Bruce, and the drummer, please. Denise, Zakoze, Skyze, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, chiefs. It is an honor to be here tonight. I want to thank the Stolo people for allowing me on their territory to come here to share in the bounty of the Fraser Valley. It is my dream to come back with Winona and Bob, who open the door for a wonderful journey in culinary. I want to encourage the students in the Camp Cook program to follow their dreams. I also want to bring in Chef Bruce. I want to thank the University of Fraser Valley for offering up and what a wonderful facility here, and work together and build a wonderful program for the Aboriginal people and the Stolo right here in the valley, the breadbasket of food here in British Columbia. It's an honor. I really thought about this for a long time. When I approached Sandra, I said, it's time to give back. There's a lot of people that helped me throughout my journey, including Winona and Bob. They opened that door, and I've been giving back ever since. That's how we do it in our culture. We give it back. And this is the start of it, and I think the timing is right. I think our kids have to know where their food comes from again. A lot of people tell our kids how to eat, but nobody shows them how to cook it. And I think this would be a wonderful opportunity for the Fraser Valley, the Stolo, to participate in such a wonderful project, if we can do this, by first of all going to one of their fish camps in the summertime, looking at how they produce this wonderful, wonderful product, wind-dried salmon, that is hung in the Fraser Canyon, and natural product and very healthy for you. Again, what we're going to do is we look at that, we speak to the elders, we go to the camp, and then we take those products, we bring them into a facility like this and cook some modern plates with the students like they have in the Camp Cook program. So that's the intent of this program, is to reach out to the youth. I did volunteer with a group called Super Chefs, and they're kids from 8 to 12 years old, and it's an amazing transformation when you bring kids into the kitchen, when they connect with food. And what I like about this is promoting our food, or promoting our culture through food, and that's what I like about this, and I'm reaching out to the youth and showing them about the value of good food, fresh, local, and such.